Coming up, the schedules for the 2025-26 Loyola men's and women's basketball teams have been released.
Plus, the transfer portal has changed things up for the men's basketball team.
I'm Gianna Perez.
And I'm Tashae.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now.
Okay, so the calendar says it's fall already, but this weather clearly didn't get the memo. It's been high 70s and 80s all week. I'm kind of over it. Still, it is officially fall, my favorite season hands down. Sky, what are you most excited for this upcoming fall season?
For me, fall means three things: hoodies, hoops, and high-energy Rambler crowds. Forget apple picking. Wait, no, I actually want some apples.
Absolutely, that sounds good. Well, speaking of fall, our Loyola teams are heading into their busy season. Here's Jenny Marchi with more of the Rambler Rundown.
It's been a busy week for Loyola sports. It was a great weekend for the women's volleyball team. They traveled to New York and played against Fordham on Saturday and Sunday, winning 3-0 and 3-1. Staying put this week, men's soccer had a game on Saturday against George Mason where they lost 3-0. They had another home game on Tuesday against Holy Cross College, winning 2-0. The women's team traveled to North Carolina on Sunday to play against Davidson, losing 3-0. Wrapping it up for the week, on Monday and Tuesday, both the women's and men's golf team are on the road. The men's team was in Ohio at the Virtues Intercollegiate where they took home third, and the women's team was in Indianapolis, competing at the Butler Fall Invitational and took home fifth. That's all for the week's rundown. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Jenny Marchi.
Thanks, Jenny. Speaking of Loyola sports, basketball season is almost back. The Loyola women's basketball team kicks things off with an exhibition against North Central on October 26th. Their full Atlantic 10 schedule just dropped with 16 games set for Gentile Arena, including that preseason opener. As for our men's basketball team, their 2025-26 schedule was also just released. Their first game tips off Sunday, October 19th, where they will take on DePaul. They will battle our crosstown rivals in Wintrust Arena, and best believe that all of us Ramblers are going to bring the energy to the stands, including myself. The men's team will play 17 home games throughout the season. That said, be sure to secure your tickets and show your support for our men's and women's basketball teams. Now, Henry, how do you think the Rambler basketball teams are going to do this season?
Thanks, Gianna. Now, if we look at preseason A10 media polls, the Ramblers are looking somewhere in that 4 to 5 range. However, I think this team can fit into that 2 or 3 range. If we look at returning talent, which this team has plenty of, they're bringing back Justin Moore, who was a starter last year, but an ACL injury had him out for the season. And we're bringing back Miles Rubin, who I think has the potential to be one of the best players, not just in the A10, but the country. That being said, now that the men's basketball schedule is out, it's the perfect time to explain how the transfer portal has changed up the team. We have 5 transfers joining the Ramblers this winter. Xavier Amos is transferring in from Wisconsin, in which he played in all 37 games for the Badgers. Also joining the team is a 6'1" guard from New Mexico, Cade Dotson, who shot 41.7% from the field for New Mexico. Dominic Harris is also transferring to the squad after a year at UCLA. The year before, he played at Loyola Marymount and averaged 14.3 points. The next new Rambler is Joshua Ola Joseph, a transfer from Cal who averaged 7.2 points a game to go along with 3.8 rebounds last year. The last new Rambler comes from the College of Charleston, Dayawilk Tavares, who averaged almost 13 points a game in 23 starts last year. While this is great incoming production, the Ramblers also lost a few key pieces to the portal this year. 2 frequent starters transferred after last season. Jalen Quinn went to Drake and Jaden Dawson went to Kansas. This issue brings up an issue in college basketball. While I would never blame Jaden Dawson for going to a better opportunity at Kansas, I will blame the NCAA for not giving a chance to mid-major schools like Loyola. Loyola has a great basketball program, but it does not have the money to compete with the blue bloods like Kansas, Duke, or Kentucky. For this reason, when mid-majors lose top players such as Jaden Dawson to one of these blue bloods, these schools should be compensated for recruiting them in the first place. It's the same way European soccer works. If a team with less income recruits and builds up a player, another wealthier team will have to pay the team for that player. For RSL, I'm Henry Isenberg.
Thanks, Henry. Always breaking down the roster moves like a pro. The portal has been busy, and yeah, losing Dawson to Kansas is tough, but Loyola's new additions bring size and speed we'll need once A10 play starts.
Now, Chicago has been buzzing this week with the NL Wildcard Series. Natalie King went to Wrigley to see what Cubs fans had to say.
I'm here in Wrigleyville where the Cubs just lost Game 2 of the NL Wildcard Series to the Padres 3-0. And while many are leaving Wrigley disappointed, I spoke to some excited Cubs fans before the game. Here's what they had to say.
The Cubs are back in the postseason for the first time since 2020, and Wrigley is buzzing with energy. After the team's victory over the Padres in Game 1 of the Wild Card Series, fans returned with even more hype for Day 2.
Just fun to have something to celebrate. Like, baseball is not the most important thing in life, but it's someplace where you come here and people are having a good time and you see families together and friends together. It's just fun, and it's even more so when you're into October and you're still getting to play.
Yeah, the atmosphere in October baseball is completely different than regular season ball.
For many loyal fans, this series marks a long-awaited chance to cheer the team on at home in October, and the energy in Wrigleyville did not disappoint.
Never been to Cubs Park, and I've lived here 31 years, so this is the first time I've ever been inside this park. It's great outside. We haven't even been inside yet. We're just enjoying outside. It's amazing.
While around 41,000 seats were filled at Wrigley for Game 2, that doesn't mean the support stopped there. Throughout all of Chicagoland, fans have been cheering the team on all week.
Look at the W's flying in all the random places throughout the city. I'm from the suburbs, and my entire neighborhood's got W's flying up.
And now I have two very special Cubs fans with me, my dad and my brother. I had a great time watching the game with them today. And now tell me about the last time you went to a Cubs playoff game.
Yeah, so the last time I was at a Cubs game, my dad took me out of school and I saw Game 2 against the Padres in 1984. Thankfully, we had won that game. Unfortunately, today we didn't. So, that wasn't great. But even more importantly, I got to experience this with my kids, which is something I did with my father back then. So
it was very fun to go to this game with my family. I wish the bats weren't catatonic, but it was a great time nonetheless.
Well, even though the Cubs didn't get the W today, it's always great when the team plays in October. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Natalie King.
Thanks, Natalie. What an exciting week at Wrigley.
Yes, for sure. Things have also been heating up in the world of football. Here's AJ Lee with this week's NFC North recap.
Welcome to the NFC North recap, Week 4. The Vikings fell to the Steelers 24-21 on Sunday in Dublin, Ireland. Justin Jefferson caught 10 passes for 126 yards, and Jordan Addison caught 4 balls for 114 yards in his first game back from suspension. This, however, was not enough to lift the Vikings to victory. They look to bounce back next week against the Cleveland Browns. I predict a low-scoring 20-13 Vikings win to put them back over 500. The Packers had a historic tie with the Dallas Cowboys. For the first time in NFL history, a game ended with the score 40-40. Jordan Love had a great game, throwing for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs made up for his lack of a touchdown last week with 2 in this game, along with 157 all-purpose yards. Romeo Doubs caught 3 touchdowns, but it was not enough to beat the Cowboys. This tie will definitely shake up the playoff picture later in the year. The Packers have a week off next week, so no score prediction for them. The Bears had an impressive comeback victory against Geno Smith's Raiders. Rome Odunze caught his 5th touchdown of the year, a mark that has him tied for 2nd in the NFL. Raiders rookie running back Ashton Genty finally had his breakout game of the year, scoring 3 touchdowns and totaling 155 yards. The Bears are also on bye next week, so they will have extra time to prepare for their revenge game against the Washington Commanders next Monday. The Lions blow out the Cleveland Browns 34-10 with Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown combining for 3 touchdowns. The Lions face off against the Cincinnati Bengals next week, and honestly, I think the Lions might win by 50. I, in fact, will be in attendance for this game, so thanks, Dad. I predict a 41-10 Lions win. That is all for this week's NFC North recap. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm AJ Lee.
Thanks, AJ. While this NFL season is still in the early stages, many are already thinking towards the Super Bowl with the announcements of Bad Bunny as the halftime performer. Kim Flores has more on how people are reacting.
Thanks, Sky. When we talk about the Super Bowl, most of the focus is on football. Who's the favorite, who's healthy, who's got the edge. But let's be real. The Super Bowl is more than a championship game. It's a global stage. And this season, the stage belongs to Bad Bunny. Recently, the NFL announced a Puerto Rican superstar will headline a halftime show. And like clockwork, the internet lit up. Fans were thrilled, pointing out that he's one of the most streamed artists right now, and others aren't so happy. Conservative podcaster Benny Johnson took onto social media stating Bad Bunny is an anti-Trump hater, with many more agreeing with him.
So the NFL leadership has decided to hire a cross-dressing, America-hating, ICE-hating, Puerto Rican dude whose music I haven't heard any of, but his name's Bad Bunny, and he says that he dislikes Donald Trump. He endorsed Kamala Harris, and he doesn't sing in English.
Also, Corey Lewandowski, an official at the Department of the Homeland Security, said ICE agents will be present at the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny's halftime show. Regardless of his political stance, fans should be able to attend without any worries. So why Bad Bunny? Well, look at his audience. He's performed at the Grammys, been featured in WWE, collaborated with rap artists like Drake or Cardi B, and has topped charts with albums entirely in Spanish. Bad Bunny has the power to bring a whole new crowd to football. The NFL doesn't just want football fans tuning in, they want everyone. Music fans, casual viewers, even people who don't know the difference between a first down and a field goal. The game decides the champion, but the halftime show connects the sport to the rest of the world. That's what makes the Super Bowl special. It's where sports and culture come together and where the world is watching. I'm Kim Flores, back to you anchors.
Thanks, Kim. Now on today's Ramble, Joe Mangold will be joined by AJ Lee and Brandon Wolak to discuss our Chicago Blackhawks.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ramble. I'm your host Joe Mangold and I'm with last week's winner AJ Lee and Brandon Wolak. The world of sports is always active and for Chicago fans, which means either more heartbreak or more reasons to go celebrate in the city. After talking about the Bears and Cubs, I hope no one thought we would leave out the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks start their season Tuesday, October 7th against last year's Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. With Bedard and the Blackhawks ready for the season, let's see what our guests have to say about the team. Brandon, how do you think the Blackhawks season will go?
It's going to be another rebuilding year, unfortunately. The team has made definitely great strides forward. It's all about their young talent coming up. Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, both entering into what can be considered their third seasons. Bedard's third full season. Nazar is going into a second full season. You have a very young blue line. Alex Vlasic, Sam Renzel, Artem Levshinov. A lot of names on here that can really make an impact for this team going forward.
All right. And AJ, what do you think?
You know, I have a few bold predictions. I think I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but I tried to do my research. I think, last year they go 25, 46, and 11, worst in their division. A few bold predictions that I have. I think Connor Bedard hits over 1 point per game. He's incredibly supported by Donato, who he's great. He had 31 assists last year. And Andrei Burakovsky. I predict him to have 75 points this year. I think he's going to score 25 and assist on another 50. Nazar, I think he's going to disappoint a little this year. I mean, he just signed a 7-year contract extension. I think he's going to score less than 30 points this year, which he did last year. Spencer Knight, incredible goalie. I think he's going to record more than 3 shutouts this year and over a 60% quality start percentage. He came from a really good situation the past few years with Florida. He had 89% save percentage last year in 15 games with the Blackhawks. I think that this year he's going to have a 90% save percentage and less than 3 goals allowed. Jeff Blashill's in the second season. This still really is a rebuilding team. I totally agree with you there. I think that this year they hope for a top 3 pick and hope to get elite forward Gavin McKenna out of Penn State. I think putting another elite forward on the team will propel them into the playoffs in the next 2 years. I think that this year's going to be a little bit of a baby step year. I do think that they're going to hit 70 points for the first time since 2019-2020. My record prediction is 30, 40, and 12.
All right, incredible. Do you have a record prediction of your own?
Record prediction 29, 44, 9. I'm looking right around the 67-point range. Not as high as 70 as you were saying. Again, it's a very tough division in the Central Division, a tough Western Conference. They're going to be beat down a lot. There are going to be some nights we want to forget, but that's just how rebuilding is.
Yeah.
All right, just great job. I didn't even know that much about hockey until y'all talked about it like that. Got to admit, though, I got to give this one to AJ on the first round. Now, let's fast forward and discuss the end of the NHL season. AJ, what do you think the Stanley Cup matchup is going to be, and who's going to be the winner?
It's really hard not to predict the Florida Panthers and the Oilers back in it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to switch up one of those teams. My prediction is that the Oilers take down the Tampa Bay Lightning. You know, I think that the Lightning are a really underrated team this year. They're plus 1,000 to win the Stanley Cup. We've seen longer odds teams win it and especially make it. You know, Nikita Kucherov, amazing. Brandon Hagel, amazing. Braden Point, amazing. I think all of them are going to have 90-plus point seasons. That's my bold prediction of the year. However, I do think that the Oilers are going to take them down, winning their first Stanley Cup since 1990 and Canada's first Stanley Cup since 1993. I think that they have 2 top 4 players in the league with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And I think that Connor McDavid is going to cement himself as one of the best players of all time with the Finals MVP.
Wow. I mean, just a strong prediction there. Brandon, what do you think?
Oilers definitely going to be heavy favorites, having lost in the final the last 2 seasons. Florida would have been my pick, admittedly. Had Matt Dutkachuk not now gone down, he's going to be out until at least December and possibly into January. And now they lose their captain, Alexander Barkov, for the entire season due to a torn ACL in training camp. Freak accident there. Really unfortunate what happens to them, but it does open the door for other teams. As you said, Tampa's looking to gun back for a Stanley Cup. They won it in 2020 and in 2021. They lost in the final in 2022. However, they haven't won a round since then. They lost in the first round in 23, 24, and 25. 2 of those seasons, however, to the Florida Panthers. If I had to pick, though, I think I'm going to pick the big winner of free agency as the Vegas Golden Knights this season acquired Mitch Marner. I think that can be the team that really gets a boost from Marner's great passing ability, had over 100 points last season. You put him on a line with Jack Eichel and the amazing depth that Vegas has. I can definitely see Vegas taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that's been up and coming for several years, been to several conference finals. I think Vegas is going to be the team to beat this year in the Stanley Cup final over Carolina.
Wow. I mean, just incredible from both you guys today. Got to give this one to Brandon. All right, folks, we're back for another tiebreaker. Now, for once, we have whiteboards, which means instead of the phones, they'll write down their answers. Got about 15 to 20 seconds. Now, guys, this question about last season. Who last season was the worst team in the NHL by record? And no drawing pictures again, please.
No pictures.
Like, last time, you guys were just all over with like graffiti work. It's kind of cool, but, like, you know. All right, I mean, both y'all got it. The answer was San Jose Sharks. Now, to see if this is really going to be another tie in our episodes, what NHL legend, well, some would call him a legend in Chicago, is on a new team this season? And what team is he on? Man, you guys are just flying through these today. It's kind of impressive. I didn't think you guys would write so fast. All right. Well, the answer was Jonathan Toews joining the Winnipeg Jets, which means Brandon Wolak is today's episode's winner. Now, guys, I mean, just incredible takes, incredible answers, incredible job. As a Chicago fan, I cannot help but root for the Blackhawks, and hopefully they actually do good this season. AJ, Brandon, thank you guys for coming today, and I cannot wait to have you guys back again. Now let's shoot this one back to the anchors.
Thanks, everyone. Great predictions. I do hope our Chicago Blackhawks can have some success this season.
Me too. I'm always rooting for Chicago to succeed.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Gianna Perez.
I'm Tashae.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.